Welcome. I'm a licensed professional counselor and I explore the psychology behind true crime. And today I'm analyzing the Sherri Papini case. It was a normal fall day in 2016 in Redding, California. And then all of a sudden, a missing persons case shocked the community. Sherri Papini, a mother of two, was missing. She was married to Keith and she was very well known in her community. She volunteered, she was a wedding planner. People knew her. She was involved in her kids' lives and she was involved in the community. And so when her disappearance became public, people were concerned. Where did Sherri go? What happened to Sherri? It was a community effort. They wanted to find her. Here is the beginning of this story. On November 2nd, she went out on a jog near her home on the old Oregon Trail. Sounds pretty nice. And she went for a jog as she normally does. She was on a rural road surrounded by rolling hills and sparse homes. It was a beautiful place to go jogging, and Sherri went there often. But later that day, when Keith got home, he was expecting to see his wife Sherri at the house like he normally does, but she wasn't there. She was gone. She was missing. He had no idea where she was. She normally would communicate if she had to go for an errand, but this time she didn't. And some more concerning facts about this. They went looking for her and they found her phone. They found her earbuds that she was wearing as she was jogging, but yet they were discarded by the roadside. They were left there, suggesting something really sinister had happened to her. And around this time, when more people in the community found out about Sherri and they were concerned, they rallied together. There were volunteers that scoured the area, and the sheriff's department launched a massive search for Sherri. Sherri's disappearance even made national headlines, not just in the community, but nationally. This became a very large scale investigation and trying to find what happened to Sherri. And here is where things really start to get bizarre. 22 days after her disappearance, it was on Thanksgiving Day, she appears. She was found wandering along the road about 150 miles away from her house. She's just kind of walking. She was battered. It looked like she was beaten up. She was branded by a mark on her shoulder. It really looked like somebody did some really bad things to Sherri and then maybe just let her go. She told authorities that two Hispanic women captured her at gunpoint, abused her, and then she got away. The story was definitely shocking. It was bizarre, but people were glad that she was okay and found. It appeared to be a happy ending to what could have been a tragic story, but it wasn't over. The story was shocking and the nation was captivated. But as investigators began to really dig into this case, it took a turn that nobody was expecting. For over 4 years, Sherri kept to her story. Two Hispanic women took her captive at gunpoint. They beat her, they abused her, they put the cover over her face so she couldn't identify them. And that was her story. For 4 years, she stood by that statement. She also claimed that they branded her with the word Exodus, which she later said resembled a Bible verse. Interesting. Her physical condition when she was found actually looked like it was backing up her story. It obviously she was beaten up. She had a broken nose. She had lost a significant amount of weight. Her hair was cut. Just by looking at her, it seemed like somebody captured her and really did some violence towards her. The sheriff's department even issued search warrants that led all the way to Michigan and described some suspects as armed and dangerous. They were serious. They were looking for two Hispanic women, maybe others that had captured Sherri, and they wanted to let the nation know to keep an eye out for them. A GoFundMe campaign was initiated as well, and about $50,000 was raised to help the family. Sherri received over $30,000 from the California Victim Compensation Board for her supposed trauma. There was a lot of money involved here. They raised $80,000 in total, but the cracks in Sherri's story began to show. In 2017, investigators found a critical clue. male DNA on Sherri's clothing that didn't belong to her husband. This is interesting because Sherri's claim it was women that captured her, not men. So this is a very interesting and intriguing clue that the police identified a male DNA evidence that was not from her husband. It was bizarre because Sherri insisted that her abductors were women. That DNA remained unidentified for years. And it wasn't until 2020 that they actually identified the DNA to be from James Ray's, Sherri's ex-boyfriend. When questioned by the authorities, Ray's admitted that Sherri was with him the entire time during those 22 days that Sherri was missing. Ray's said that Sherri had asked him to stage the kidnapping, even requesting that he would injure her to make it more convincing. This is part of Sherri's elaborate plan here. The bruises, the cut, the brand, largely self-inflicted and done at her direction. Phone records, car rental data, and other evidence confirmed that she orchestrated the entire ordeal. In March 2022, Sherri was arrested by the FBI for making false accusations and for mail fraud. She pleaded guilty a month later. She admitted that the kidnapping was all a hoax to spend time with her ex-boyfriend, Ray's, away from her family. She was sentenced to 18 months in prison and ordered to pay over $300,000 in restitution, a debt that she struggled to repay. But it doesn't stop there. What really is starting to make this bizarre is that Sherri had a complete reversal from her plea. She appeared in a docuseries, and in that docuseries, she reversed everything that she said up to that point. In the docuseries, she said that Ray's, not the two Hispanic women, kidnapped her. All right, so Sherri comes up missing for 22 days. She's found. She claims that two Hispanic women captured her, beat her up, let her go. And then she admits she made the whole thing up and she wanted to spend time with Ray's. And then she says in this docuseries that no, not two Hispanic women. She didn't make it up, but Ray's, her ex-boyfriend, was the one that kidnapped her. Bizarre. She alleged that Ray's held her against her will, which completely contradicted her guilty plea. But Ray's passed a polygraph. He was never charged and denied her claims. This sudden shift stunned the investigators and the public, raising questions about why Sherri would double down on a story already proven false. Was she trying to rewrite her narrative, or does she genuinely believe the new version? The twist adds a layer of psychological complexity that's rare even in true crime. I want to break down the psychology of Sherri's actions and behaviors here. These are my speculations. It's not a diagnosis in any way, but it raises a lot of mental health indicators that I want to investigate here. Sherri Papini's case is fascinating because it's layered with so many complex psychological issues and mental health indicators. So let's start with Sherri's motivations here. Her decision to stage the kidnapping suggests a need for attention, control, or to escape. She wanted to go back to her ex and spend time with him and away from her family. Psychologically, this could point to traits associated with histrionic personality disorder, where individuals crave being the center of attention and may go to dramatic lengths to achieve it. May be likely here. The elaborate nature of her hoax, self-inflicted injuries, a fabricated story about her captors, and maintaining the lie for years shows a calculated effort to manipulate perceptions. Studies suggest that compulsive liars often use deception to cope with inadequacy or to gain validation. Sherri's choice to involve an ex-boyfriend and hide an emotional affair, as she later admitted, hints at deeper relational issues. Sherri told ABC News that she feared her husband Keith's reaction to her infidelity more than prison. If true, the fear could stem from an anxious attachment style, where someone feels trapped in a relationship yet terrified of abandonment. Her claim that Ray's kidnapped her, despite evidence to the contrary, might reflect cognitive dissonance, A mental conflict where someone clings to a false belief to avoid discomfort of admitting fault. It's possible that Sherri's repeated lies became a psychological shield to protect her from shame from her actions. It's one lie, then you have to tell another lie and another lie to cover all the other lies. The betrayal here really extends beyond her family. By falsely describing her captors as Hispanic women, Sherri diverted police resources and fueled harmful stereotypes, impacting her community. All this aligns with research on pathological lying, which often disregards collateral damage. Her insistence on a new version of events in 2025 could suggest a refusal to fully confront her actions, a trait seen in individuals who externalize blame to perceive their self-image. While we can't diagnose Sherri, we can look at her behaviors. There's a lot of psychological and mental health indicators going on inside of Sherri of why she would deceive and not just break away from the family or her marriage. Her behaviors is bizarre, it's interesting, but it's also sad. She betrayed a family, she betrayed her community, she ultimately betrayed the nation by her lies. So what do you think about this case? Pretty interesting, a lot of psychological layers here about Sherri. Love to know your thoughts about this. If you know other details, let me know in the comments. And if you have another case that has a lot of psychological layers to it, let me know. I'm always looking for more cases to cover. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, stay curious, stay safe.